Ch1. You are listening at FameTV.info. The shadow of the tree swayed gently. Mottled sunlight poured through the glass window and illuminated the classroom. The math teacher was leading them through a review. Her monotone voice made one feel drowsy listening to it. Wan Qingxiao propped her chin, her languid eyes staring at the female student sitting in the middle of the first row. The female student sat perfectly straight, one look and you could tell she was a good student. From the back, her fragile figure was covered by a loose white uniform. The beauty that System 520 had mentioned could only be seen from her slim shoulders and the glimpse of two pale and slender arms. The more Wan Qingxiao looked at her back, the more beautiful she looked. Even her drowsiness had receded quite a bit. She sat at the last desk, her feet rested on top of the table as she tilted her chair 20 centimeters backward, her back directly sticking against the wall. The coolness of the wall slightly abated the heat she was feeling. The math teacher glanced up and looked at her, saying pointedly, "It's almost time for final exams. The power has stopped for a good half of the day and teacher understands that it's hot but everyone must persevere. Strive to bring home good grades, don't disappoint your parents. Even if your family is affluent, if the inheritor doesn't have the capabilities to take over, the family's fortune will eventually be squandered." The entire class knew who the math teacher was talking about, but they didn't dare to turn their head around to look. Wan Qingxiao was the #1 tyrant at Xingjian High School. Her family was extremely wealthy and she was extremely good at fighting. Last semester, anyone who dared to provoke her had all transferred school after being beaten, yet Wan Qingxiao, the person who did the beating, actually had nothing happen to her. Wan Qingxiao raised a brow. At this moment, the math teacher happened to lock eyes with her. The former's icy gaze sent a shiver throughout her body, causing her to temporarily forget what she was going to say next. The math teacher didn't like Wan Qingxiao but knew she had a deep background. She wasn't a figure an ordinary person like her could afford to offend. She dejectedly shifted away her vision and coughed twice. "All right, I won't continue talking about something off-topic. Everyone, let's continue to review. The host has been kept waiting, System 520 bug has been fixed. Since this is your first time participating in a mission, 520 has automatically assigned you the E.rank world, Pure Campus Love. In this world, you will be playing the role of Xinjia High's school bully." A milky voice sounded in Wan Qingxiao's sea of consciousness. Wan Qingxiao had recently joined the Plot Amendment Research Institute and on her first mission, she had somehow managed to be assigned as a vicious villainess. In order for the actors to better adjust to their new identities, the characters they play will have the same name as them. When she entered the world, System 520 had only mentioned the female lead's appearance. Just as it was about to explain the storyline, it realized that the plot hadn't been downloaded successfully, so it had hurriedly went to fix the bug. After half a class had passed, Wan Qingxiao finally heard this cute milky voice again. "Wan Qingxiao. 520, present the character background." She could directly talk to 520 through her mind. "Okay, dear host, plot summary." Wan Qingxiao, being born to an affluent family, passed the first half of her life smoothly. Who would have guessed after enrolling in high school, she would fall in love with the male lead, Liang Yan, who only loved the female lead. In order to obtain Liang Yan, Wan Qingxiao had done all sorts of evil deeds. She created misunderstandings between the male and female lead and in the end, like she wanted, she was able to win Liang Yan over. However, the innocent female lead was framed by Wan Qingxiao and was thrown into jail for a crime of theft, eventually meeting her end there. Ding. Assigning mission. The female lead's happiness trumps all. Attaching the system's reverse situation analysis. The female lead's happiness is dependent on the male lead. May host dedicatedly act out the role of a vicious villainess and help the female lead obtain happiness. Male lead, the system has already helped you analyze 10 optimal scenarios where the male and female leads' feelings will blossom. 10 minutes before each scenario, the system will automatically issue a reminder. may host grasp the opportunities. According to Wan Qingshao's understanding, an E.rank world is the easiest world, so she should be able to complete the mission without an issue. Wan Qingshao. What is the female lead's happiness value right now? Currently, the female lead's happiness value is 0. She doesn't feel even the slightest bit happy. Wan Qingshao became more curious about the female lead. After math class ended, the quiet classroom turned lively. Wan Qingshao didn't have a deskmate, she occupied the last 2 seats in the back by herself. The class she's in is the rocket class, where the top students of Xingjia High gather. The students who were good at studying were all high and aloof. They didn't want to associate with a weak student like Wan Qingshao, who only got here through her connections. The male lead Liang Yan was the only person in rocket class who voluntarily talked to the original host. His innately gentle temperament mesmerized the original host, who had been ostracized in the rocket class for nearly a year. It was because of this that the original host was determined to obtain Liang Yan, no matter what unscrupulous method she had to use. Liang Yan was the class president as well as the math representative. Following the math teacher to the teacher's office, he carried back a stack of test papers and handed it out to each desk. When he got to Wan Qingshao, Liang Yan gently knocked on the desk. Wan Qingshao raised her head and saw Liang Yan pursing his lips, saying, "Classmate Luan." A clear and smooth voice, the voice was quite nice to hear. The original host was naturally cold and prideful, but when faced with Liang Yan, she acted differently. She smiled modestly and said, "Liang Yan, if you have something to say then say it." Her humbled attitude didn't go by unnoticed. The harsh criticism Liang Yan was able to say failed to exit his mouth. Liang Yan's fair skin turned faintly red. Wan Qingshao could only guess it's from frustration. As expected, in the next second Liang Yan furrowed his brows in displeasure and said, "I hope you can pay more attention during class in the future, don't always bring down the average of our class." After he finished speaking, he placed down an exam paper and left. Wan Qingshao wasn't an actor in her original world, but just now, she felt that she had perfectly played the role of the original owner. She managed to show that the male lead was different to her without OOCing, while also prompting the male lead's hatred. It seems that in the future she can consider getting a job as an actress. She casually tossed the exam paper into her desk and got up to use the restroom. Passing by the first row, the female lead seat was empty. On top of her desk was a blue plastic book rack with textbooks and learning materials neatly organized on it. Pinned on top of the book rack was a cute strawberry-shaped hair clip. Wan Qingshao liked the look of it and took it off as she walked by. Holding the clip in her hand, she walked out of the classroom. In Chongxi class, a male student sitting near the door saw Wan Qingshao walk by in the hallway with a smile on her face. He pushed away his chair and walked to Wan Qingshao's side. "Boss, who are you going to teach a lesson to this time? I'll help you all." Wan Qingshao narrowed her eyes and scrutinized the male student by her side. He was thin, pale, wore a black-rimmed glasses, and when he smiled, 2 little canine teeth were revealed. It's just that his height was a bit lacking. He was a little shorter than Wan Qingshao, who was 175 centimeters. Wan Qingshao asked System 520. "Who's this?" Ding, search completed. Name Luo Sun, gender male, attribute cannon fodder, supporting male lead, family background, father is the chairman of Luoshi Corporation. Mother is a famous musician. Parents are currently divorced. Cannon fodder description/deeds. A child born from the union of his parents' marriage. Lacked love since young, the type to seek favors with others and tends to get depressed easily. In middle school he was bullied, and by coincidence, he was saved by Wan Qingshao. Ever since then he worships Wan Qingshao to an abnormal degree. Self-proclaimed #1 little brother of Wan Qingshao. Wan Qingshao. So there was also this format of character introduction. Give me one for both the male and female lead. Okay, name Ye Genre, gender female, attribute female lead, family background, father is the chairman of Yunbo Estate. Mother is the owner of a convenience store. There are currently no interactions between her parents. Female lead description / deeds has both beauty and brains but no aspirations in life, namely Yang Yen gender male attribute male lead family background both parents are college professors. Male lead description / deeds has excelled in his studies since young. Has no remarkable incidents. The male and female lead scenarios has not started yet. 520 can only provided this much information. Wan Qingxiao praised. Good job, thank you host. 520 will continue to work hard. Wan Qingxiao placed her hand on Luo Sun's neck and pressed down with force, causing Luo Sun to bend and lower his neck. Child, don't talk about fighting and killing all day, big sis is just going to the restroom. Wan Qingxiao released her hand. Luo Sun fixed his hair and straightened his body before smiling mischievously, saying, Boss, I also need to use the restroom, we can go together Wan Qingxiao. Seeing Luo Sun uneasily wringing his hands together, Wan Qingxiao remembered 520 saying Luo Sun was prone to depression. She slightly lifted her chin and said, Let's go. The men and women's restroom was right next to each other anyway, it won't be unusual to go together. Luo Sun's gloomy expression became sunny again at a visible rate. Yes, boss. The two of them strolled to the restroom. When Wan Qingxiao walked into the women's restroom, she happened to bump into the person walking out. Wan Qingxiao subconsciously steadied the person in her arms. Soft and fragrant. Wan Qingxiao didn't miss the sounds of gasping from the students around. They're probably thinking this female student who bumped into her is about to be beaten. But after thinking to themselves, none of them were willing to stand out to rescue the person that was about to be bullied by her. Wan Qingxiao waited until the person in her arms had steadied herself before releasing her hold and taking a step back. She raised eyes to look at the other, curved and willowy brows, watery eyes, straight nose, and small ruddy lips. Exquisite 5 features graced on a pale, palm-sized face. What a beauty, if this isn't the female lead Nie Zhener then who else could it be? When Nie Zhener saw Wan Qingxiao, her entire body went stiff. Her ruddy lips were slightly agape as she didn't dare to move even an inch. Although she had never personally witnessed Wan Qingxiao fight, but Wan Qingxiao's past deeds were widely known throughout the entire school. Pick any random person and they would be able to tell you about Wan Qingxiao's heroic deeds of how she beat someone until their ribs fractured and then forced them to transfer schools afterward. Nie Zhener didn't want to cause any trouble, she just went to use the restroom. Why did she have to offend the one person that shouldn't be offended in the entire school? The rosy color on Nie Zhener's cheeks immediately disappeared. Her complexion was wan as she said in a small voice. Sorry, I didn't mean to. Her voice trembled, like she was about to cry. Wan Qingxiao reached a hand out to Nie Zhener. Nie Zhener was frightened into shutting her eyes. Her delicate figure resembled a white lotus enduring a raging storm, her life forfeit at any moment. Wan Qingxiao's finger briefly brushed over the other's lashes that resembled quivering butterfly wings. Her red lips curved upward. Nie Zhener, you dropped your hair clip. Nie Zhener opened her eyes. A drop of tear hung on her curled lashes, her panicked expression made her look extremely pitiful. What hair clip? She wanted to say she didn't bring a hair clip with her when Wan Qingxiao spreaded out her palms in front of her. The 10 fingers in front of Nie Zhener was delicate and long, on the joints there was a slight callus and laying on the palm was a cute strawberry hair clip. This, a hair clip as cute as you are. Wan Qingxiao couldn't resist tossing out a flirty remark to the little beauty. Wan Qingxiao grabbed Nie Zhener's hand while she was distracted and pulled her over. She placed the strawberry clip into the other's hand. I'll return it to its rightful owner. After saying this, she walked by Nie Zhener's side and entered the women's restroom. Nie Zhener turned around, only to see the free and easy image of Wan Qingxiao's back. She lowered her head and looked at the strawberry hair clip in her hand with a complicated expression. Carefully, she closed her hand like she was holding treasure and brought her fist close to her heart. She then turned around and returned to rocket class. Luo Sun, who didn't need to use the restroom at all, had a face full of excitement from having discovered a secret. It turns out, boss likes the school flower. Just then she even found an excuse to pull the school flower's hand. This little brother almost couldn't continue watching. Oof. My boss is so overbearing when chasing someone, overbearing enough to break legs. Listen to the full novel at FameTV.info, direct link in the description.